of the things you cannot see. Faith has no job without hope. Faith gives credibility to hope. It is the substance of the thing I hope for.
That's right. Yes.
Paul said, abide faith, hope, and charity, which means love.
Oh, that's right.
These three, but the greatest, somebody say the greatest.
Greatest.
He said, but the greatest, the master, the ringleader of the three, the greatest of these is love. Somebody say love. Paul said, if you get in a bind and you got to pick one, if you got to compromise on something, if your faith gets weak and if your hope grows dim, the greater of these three, if you got to have one in the backpack or you can't make it, the greatest of these, he said, is love. Love sums it all up. Let's go to the Gospel of St. John, chapter 3, verse 16. The Gospel of St. John, chapter 3, verse 16. And it begins by saying, if you don't get these first two words, you've missed this entire text. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have. Stop right there. Come on. But have. That means to possess. That's right now. That's not I hope for, but I got it right now. Shall have everlasting life. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. I want to talk this morning on this Resurrection Sunday morning about that word gave. I want to use as a subject the ultimate gift. The ultimate gift. The ultimate gift. Everybody is seeking to get for somebody or someone they love the ultimate gift. At Christmas time, you go to the mall, you can't even find a parking space. The stores are so crowded you can't even park at the mall because everybody at Christmas time is trying to find the ultimate gift. At birthdays and anniversaries and at graduation, we spend a lot of effort trying to find and locate the ultimate gift. The newest toy, the latest gadget, the newest phone, the quickest iPad. People are standing in line for hours to get a gift, working overtime on their jobs to get the ultimate gift. Crime rates are up and violence is getting worse as desperate people are willing to do desperate things to get little Johnny the ultimate gift. I shall never cease to amaze me that at Christmas time, the number of young mothers that I usually run across in the court system because they're in the store that have taken something trying to get their son or their daughter some kind of a gift at Christmas time. And they say to me, they said, well, lawyer, I just had to have something for my child. Everybody is trying to get the ultimate gift. But I want to tell you, I'm so glad. I'm glad to be as old as I am, as wise as I am, and to have lived long enough to know that whatever you stood in line for all day and all night to get little Johnny, he won't even remember it a year from now. Ask little Johnny what he got for Christmas 2 years ago or even a year ago. He couldn't tell you. Why do we ascribe such value to things? Talked to an estranged father the other day who talked about paying his child support. He said, "I've done my duty. I sent the check every month." I commend that. That's very good. But let me ask you, is all that a man provides is just money? Are your only responsibility to your sons and your daughters is the same that you give to the power company that you pay your bill every month? Is love a check? I submit for your consideration that love is more than things. That love is more than tangibles. That love is more than possessions. Love comes from the heart. The strength of our ministry is not in how we speak, how we dress or enunciate, but it comes from the heart that speaks it. Because you can enunciate correctly and articulate as you please. You can be the greatest orator that the world has ever seen, but if it comes from a cold place, the audience will perceive it and eventually walk away, because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. But there are no books. There are no stores that sells it. There are no websites that features it. Where do you get this precious commodity called love? And is your life a reflection of your fullness of it, or is it a reflection of the lack of it?
All right.
It's difficult to even approach the subject, but yet the Apostle Paul did it quite eloquently in Corinthians. Yeah. He speaks to a church that has once been very, very carnal, because you remember Corinthians is the church where the man was sleeping with his own stepmother. He's talking to a church that was once very carnal, but now they've gone to the other extreme of being very spiritual. Yeah. They have gone from orgies and lust and debauchery and idolatry on one extreme to the next extreme of prophecy, tongues, and laying hands on the sick. And if you live long enough, you will watch people swing from one extreme to the other.
Yeah, I know.
And he's trying to wheel them in a bit. In 1 Corinthians chapter 13, he's trying to get them to understand, don't be so caught up in the spiritual gifts and the prophecy and the tongues and the interpretation of tongues and the word of knowledge and the word of wisdom and the working of miracles. Don't be all caught up in all of that.
Yeah.
He says, though I speak with the tongues of men and angels, and though I understand all mysteries and have not love, I am nothing.
Come on now.
No matter how talented you are, no matter how educated you are, no matter how gifted I am, if it doesn't come from a place of love,
Come on, preacher.
it will not be effective. You're doing the right thing, but it's not coming from the right place. So don't be caught up on doing the thing if it doesn't come from the right place.
Come on now.
That's right.
Come on now.
And he knows that he has a segment of people who are caught up in their giftedness. And they think that if they're gifted enough, that they will ascend to the opiate of human experience. And he says, not only will you not ascend to the opiate of human experience, but he says that you are really nothing.
Amen.
Now that's a real insult to a gifted person, because a gifted person has a tendency to define themselves by their gifts. He says, no matter how gifted you are, if they are not rooted, let me say this a bit. If your talent and your giftedness is not rooted and grounded in love, he doesn't say that you are less. He says they're nothing. You're nothing. You're zero. Then he knows that there's another group of people, and they pride themselves on giving. And he says, though I give my body to be burned and have not love, I'm nothing. Let me ask you, are you something this morning?